This is Brony Simpson, and today I'm going to show you all my NES games. This here is my NES collection, and as you can see, I have a lot of NES games, and some of these games are very rare. So without further ado, here are the NES games that I have. Jackal. This is an awesome game. I played this back in 2008, and I loved it. Sesame Street, Big Bird's Hide and Speak. Sesame Street 1, 2, 3. This is a very good game. This used to be my favorite back in 2008. I mean, this brings back great memories. I actually love this game much better than Sesame Street ABC. Here's Sesame Street ABC, of course. Darkwing Duck. Friday the 13th. Awesome game, although it does have a couple of flaws. But despite that, Friday the 13th is a classic. This was one of my all-time favorites back in 2007. I loved this game. The Karate Kid. Archon. The Blues Brothers. Not a very good game, but the music is great. I love the music. I especially love the song Everybody Needs Somebody that was in the game. Super Glove Ball. Donkey Kong Classics. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Terrible game, but it does take me all the way back to 2007. Because back in those days, I was reliving the 80s and 90s. Here's Kid Niki, Radical Ninja. Great game, awesome music. Too bad the sequels to the game never came out in America. That would have been awesome. The Little Mermaid. It's a pretty good game, but they should have put in more levels. Frankenstein, The Monster Returns, a terrible game. I absolutely hate that game. Here's Paperboy. This is a pretty good game, but very challenging. Werewolf, The Last Warrior. Not as good as it should have been made. The music is great, though. Kings of the Beach. A very good volleyball game, but it is very challenging. Vice Project Doom, this is an awesome game. It's pretty difficult, but it is an awesome game. Pipe Dream. This is a simple but fun game. And then next up, we have Contra and Super C. These games are both awesome games. Although Contra's one that I prefer the most. I mean, this game is awesome. And next up is Bad Dudes. Shadow of the Ninja. The Three Stooges, one of my least favorite games. Defender of the Crown. This is a horrible game in my opinion. Journey to Silius. The music in this game is awesome, the action is good too, but the game is very hard, and the fact that the continues are very limited is why I consider this game terrible. Especially at that part in level 3 where you gotta survive those falling platforms while trying to kill those enemies that stop you. So yeah, Journey to Silius is a game that I consider too flawed to be the best. But I still love the level 3 music in that game, though. Robo Warrior. Now here's an awesome game right here. Iron Tank. This game is awesome. It's fun, it's challenging, and there's a password feature, which is a very good thing since this game is very hard. Deadly Towers. Not a very good game, but I do like the music, and this does give me some nostalgia. Dr. Mario. This is a pretty good game. This is a game that I had when I was a kid, so this is a game from my childhood. Burai Fighter. Pretty good shoot 'em up. Challenging, but very good. And then next, here's Beetlejuice, which is considered one of the worst games. I mean, I think the platforming stages are good, but the overhead view stages that take place in that house, those levels I don't like. But the music is still awesome, though. I love the music. So anyway, here's Metroid. This is an awesome game. Takes me back to 2008. King's Knight. I like how the artwork on the cartridge looks exactly like an 80s anime. "720 Degrees." Terrible game. Top Gun and Top Gun the Second Mission. Jurassic Park and Pac-Man, the unlicensed black cartridge from Tengen. Some people pronounce it Tengen, but I like pronouncing it Tengen. But however you pronounce it, it's there. Raid on Bungling Bay. Karate Champ. Not a very good game, but the title music is awesome. I love the title music. And the game does take me back to 2007. Here's Zexus. This is a really good game. Snoopy's Silly Sports Spectacular. Originally a Famicom game called Donald Duck. Here's Time Lord, a game that could have been made better. The game does have its flaws, but the music is awesome. I love the music, especially the title music. The title music is very epic. Spy vs. Spy, this is a really good game. I used to love Spy vs. Spy, and I used to love reading the comics in the Mad magazines. I used to be a Mad Magazines fan back in 2007. Here's Shingen the Ruler, one of my least favorite games. Dragon Spirit, the New Legend. This is a pretty good game. It's very challenging though. Very simple looking shoot 'em up, but a very good game. Now here's a game that has good looking action, but it's very challenging. Snake's Revenge, the sequel to Metal Gear. I love the music in this game. The music is awesome. Willow. This is a pretty good Zelda-like game. In fact, the game itself seems to capture a feel of both Zelda and Survival Kids due to the areas that are in that game. Q*bert. Fester's Quest. Target Renegade. Now, this is a game that I would consider great, but unfortunately, there's a time limit in the game, and the fact that you gotta take some time outsmarting the enemies in this game is why they should not have put in a time limit. So yeah, Target Renegade is one that I consider terrible. Platoon. Now this is a great looking game. I mean, the action is awesome, and so is the music. But the fact that the game is extremely hard is why this game should have been given a password feature. And Platoon also does take me back to late 2007. So yeah, I have quite a case of nostalgia from Platoon. Anyway, here's Stinger. Good game. Has good music. And it's a game that feels pretty long. And it's pretty challenging. Next up, we have Barker Bill's Trick Shooting. This was a pretty good shooting game. And this was one of the first NES games I ever played. Jaws. Tiger Heli. A good game that has no ending. Cybernoid. This is a pretty fun game, but man, it is extremely hard. This is about as hard as Spelunker. Now here's an awesome game that really takes me back to 2008, as well as 2007. Maniac Mansion. Man, I used to love this game. I'm actually glad that Maniac Mansion appeared in the final best games list of Nintendo Power, because Maniac Mansion is awesome. Here's Casino Kid. Batman Returns. A pretty flawed beat-em-up with some very good graphics and music, though. Now here's an awesome Zelda-like game. A Zelda-like RPG, to be exact. Crystalis. Now this is one of the best NES games I've ever played. This is one of my favorites. I love Crystalis. High Speed. This is actually a really good pinball game. I love the death music in the game. I mean, it is awesome. It's beautiful. Next up, we have Monster Party. I love the title music in that game, as well as the password music and the game over music. And then here are a couple of unlicensed Bible games. Joshua and the Battle of Jericho, and Bible Adventures. Then here we got the Addams Family. Ghost Lion. Well, the exact title is Legend of the Ghost Lion. This is a pretty terrible RPG because this isn't the kind of game where you get experience points when you kill an enemy, you just get money. And the only way to build up your strength and your health is to search treasure chests, which is a serious pain. I mean, they should have just made The Legend of the Ghost Lion just like any other RPG. You know, gain experience points to build up a level and stuff. I was very lucky to be beating the game, though, when I reached the Ghost Lion. I thought for sure I was gonna die, but I beat the game. And as far as I know, I'm never gonna try to endure the entire game like that ever again. But anyway, here's Mag Max. And just like with Tiger Alley, this is a game that has no ending. It's a pretty good game, though. Alright. Here's Hook. And then next up is Tailspin. This used to be one of my all-time favorites. I was a big Tailspin fan back in the 90s. I used to watch Tailspin all the time. Renegade. Now this really takes me back to 2008. I mean, yeah, the game is pretty short, but it's a very good, challenging game. Well, maybe not very good, but it's an okay game. Really gives me a case of nostalgia. Dig Dug 2, Trouble in Paradise. This is a pretty good game. And I think it's a rare game, too. Well, anyway, here's Captain Skyhawk. Good game, but pretty difficult. RoboCop. Astyanax or Astyanax, however it's pronounced. Now here is an extremely rare NES game that I have right here. You're never gonna believe this, but I have Rainbow Islands. Yes, that is right. I have the cartridge in my collection. And this game is extremely rare. Then here's a simple but fun and challenging game, Air Fortress. And then here's another extremely rare game that I have right here. The Jetsons, Cogswell's Caper. Now this is one of the rarest NES games of all time, along with Rainbow Islands. And this game is awesome. It is one of the very best games ever made. And then next up, we've got Hogan's Alley. This is a pretty challenging game. Next up, we have Bubble Bobble. Now this used to be one of my all-time favorites when I was a kid. I mean, I loved this game. Wall Street Kid. RC Pro AM, an awesome racing game. The only thing I find truly flawed about this game is that there's no in-game music. And I think that the title screen music, which is awesome, should also have been put in as in-game music for this game because, you know, not only is this an awesome racing game, but the title music is also awesome. And then here I've got Adventure Island. And then I have a rare game here, Adventure Island 2. The Goonies 2. Now this is an awesome game. I mean, I love The Goonies 2. I mean, for me, this game captures a true feel of the movie. Over here we've got Predator. Dick Tracy. I'd call this a good game, but you know, the overhead view area where you gotta drive around is very impossible to survive because of the enemies that shoot at you from the roof. So yeah, the enemies on the roof in that game, or the rooftops, they should have been removed from the game before the game got released. But anyway, here's Conquest of the Crystal Palace. Ice Climber. Ikari Warriors. Ikari Warriors 2 Victory Road. This is definitely the worst game ever. And then here's Ikari 3 The Rescue. Tiny Toon Adventures. The Legend of Zelda. Awesome game. I love The Legend of Zelda. Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Often referred to as The Adventures of Link. And that is also an awesome game. I used to love that game. Rocket Ranger. Felix the Cat. Kickle Cubicle. This is a really good game. Star Tropics, one of the best NES games of all time. I loved this game. I mean, this really takes me back. I mean, Star Tropics is an absolute classic. Zoda's Revenge, Star Tropics 2, great game. And then here's an awesome sports game. Ice hockey. Mickey Mousecapade. POW, Prisoners of War. Mega Man 6. This was one of my all-time favorites. Mega Man 3. Mega Man 2, this was definitely one of my all-time favorites. This and Mega Man 6 used to be my most favorite NES Mega Man games of all time. And then here's Double Dragon. Double Dragon 2, The Revenge. Double Dragon 3, The Sacred Stones. Rambo. A pretty flawed game, but takes me all the way back to 2008. Castlevania, awesome game. Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, also a good game. Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, definitely a good game. Bugs Bunny's Birthday Blowout. Dash Galaxy in the Alien Asylum. Terrible game. Bionic Commando. Good game. Little Nemo the Dream Master. Jordan vs. Bird, 1-on-1. Hoops. These here are mostly the basketball games. Ultimate Basketball. Awesome graphics and music, but it's impossible to steal the ball, so Ultimate Basketball is the worst, but it has a watch mode, so the game is still worth popping in if you want to watch the action. All Pro Basketball, which is an awesome game. And it even has a watch mode. Magic Johnson's Fast Break. The action in the game looks a lot like a ColecoVision game. Here's Arch Rivals. The only thing I don't like about the game is that the in-game music always starts over when you shoot a hoop or when a foul takes place, because there's always the cutscene and then the music stops and then it's back to the game and the music starts over, which really sucks because there's a second half of the music track that sounds so cool, but you never hear it. So anyway, here are all the baseball games here that I have. Baseball Simulator 1000. Major League Baseball. And oh yeah, Baseball Simulator 1000 is an awesome game. Legends of the Diamond, good game. A little short, but still a good game. And pretty challenging too. Bad News Baseball, the challenge in this game is bad news, but the music is still great. Then here's Tecmo Baseball. This is a pretty flawed game, but the music is awesome. The graphics are good, and there's a watch mode, so the game's worth popping in to watch. Here's Baseball. This is one of the worst games ever made. The running is horrible. I mean, the pitching and the batting is good, but the running is terrible. Baseball Stars. Roger Clemens MVP Baseball. Beware of this game. The batting is unresponsive because they purposely made it that way. Yeah, because you gotta press the A button quickly for just a bunt move when they could have given that sort of thing to the B button and just let the A button be altogether the swing. But anyway, here's Bases Loaded. Bases Loaded 2, second season. And then Bases Loaded 3. This is a good Bases Loaded game. Then here's a few football games. John Elway's Quarterback. Tecmo Bowl, one of everybody's favorite football games. NES Play Action Football. Not a very good game, but I like that Nestor appeared in it as a news reporter or sports news reporter. Yeah. Anyway, here's 10-Yard Fight. It seems like a pretty good game, but the action is very slow. And then here's Tecmo Super Bowl. Muppet Adventure. Chaos at the Carnival. Orb 3D. The Legend of Kage. This is a pretty awesome game. It's very challenging, but it's still an awesome game. I mean, the graphics are simple but good, and the music is awesome. Even the play control is good. And then here's Demon Sword, made by the exact same company that made Legend of Kage. And it's very similar to the Legend of Kage as well. I love this game very much because somehow the game, the game's character and the world that it takes place in captures an Inuyasha feel. Even the music is awesome. Here's Kirby's Adventure, one of the best NES games of all time. Little League Baseball Championship Series. This is one of my least favorite baseball games. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Kung Fu Heroes. And then here's the sequel. Little Ninja Brothers, one of my favorite NES RPGs of all time. And this is a rare game. Total Recall, not really the best, but takes me back to 2007. Here's The Adventures of Bayou Billy, known in Japan as Mad City. This game is pretty much one of the worst NES beat-em-ups because of how many hits it takes just to kill one enemy, and you're always getting hit while trying to kill an enemy. Whereas in Mad City, it only takes a few hits and then the enemy's gone. Snake Rattle and Roll. Rad Racer. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Daydreamin' Davy. Phantom Fighter. Gremlins 2, The New Batch. This is a really good game. Short, but very challenging. And then here's the Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle. Next up is Blades of Steel. This is an awesome game. Dr. Chaos. The game looks okay and fun, but it has its flaws that make it the worst game ever. And then here I've got Dragon Warrior, a relatively short RPG, but was considered big at the time. And then here's the sequel, Dragon Warrior 2. And then here are 3 Simpsons games that I have right here. The Simpsons, Bart vs. the World. The Simpsons, Bartman meets Radioactive Man. The Simpsons, Bart vs. the Space Mutants. This is a game I really like and dislike at the same time. I feel that the game should have been given at least a password feature, since the game is difficult. I mean, if the game had been given a password feature, then maybe it would have been at least considered the best. Here's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, the Manhattan Project. Dragon Power, originally released in Japan as a Famicom game as Dragon Ball. Ninja Gaiden, awesome game, but the last couple levels are very hard. Here's Ninja Gaiden 2, the Dark Sword of Chaos. I actually beat this game long before the first Ninja Gaiden. And then here are my Jeopardy games right here. Jeopardy 25th Anniversary Edition. Jeopardy Junior Edition. Super Jeopardy. And then here I've got Wheel of Fortune, very good game. The Jeopardy games are also good, but Wheel of Fortune is also a good game show. Wheel of Fortune Family Edition. Wheel of Fortune Junior Edition. And then here I've got roller games. Tecmo World Wrestling. This game could have been made better. I mean, the action does look good, but the game is difficult. Oh, almost forgot to show y'all. You probably noticed it already, but you might want to see the cartridges anyway. Super Mario Bros. Duck Hunt. Good game, awesome game. And like with most gamers who grew up as kids owning an NES, this was one of the very first games I ever had and owned. And then here is Super Mario Bros. 2, one of my favorites. And then here's Super Mario Bros. 3, one of my all-time favorites. Here's Pro Wrestling, I used to really like this game when I first played it, but looking at it now, I actually hate the game because the grappling moves are very difficult to pull off. I mean, sure, you just gotta do button tapping, but it's very random whether you're gonna pull off a grappling move or your opponent's gonna pull it off on you. Even with a turbo controller, it's a random thing. And the grappling control should have been made better. Should have been made more like the grappling control in LJN's wrestling games for the Super Nintendo. But anyway, here's WWF WrestleMania Steel Cage Challenge. And then here's WWF WrestleMania Challenge. Pretty good game. WCW Wrestling, well, World Championship Wrestling. This is a pretty terrible game in my opinion because of how easy it is to get hit by your opponent. The moves look great though, the music is good. The action is a bit cheesy but fun looking. And then here's WWF WrestleMania. I like the music in the game, but the game itself could have been made bigger and better. Next is Urban Champion. This is an awesome game here. I love this game. This is a classic. Ring King. The punching control in this game isn't very good, and well, the controls themselves aren't very good, but the action still looks good, and the music is okay, and there's a watch mode, so it's worth popping in to watch. Then here's World Champ. Very similar to Ring King, but much better. Has good graphics and good music. The controls are a lot better. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, one of the best boxing games of all time. Then here's a game that would have been made better if the people who made this game knew what it was that made Punch-Out! A good game. George Foreman's KO Boxing. Treasure Master. Rampage. Ghostbusters 2. Terrible game. I mean, if they had made it so that you could destroy the obstacles that come your way in the game, then the game would have been considered a real classic. Here's Ghostbusters. I actually liked this game, except for the building area. I mean, Ghostbusters takes me back to 2007. And then here's Bandai Golf Challenge Pebble Beach. Now we're on to the golf games. Jack Nicklaus Greatest 18 Holes of Major Championship Golf. Or just simply Jack Nicklaus Golf. This is an awesome game. I loved this game. I thought it was an awesome game. It brings back memories. Lee Trevino's Fighting Golf. And then here's the original Mario Golf. NES Open Tournament Golf. Then here's Golf. Golf Power. And then here's Ultima Exodus. A pretty flawed RPG, but a cult classic to some. And then here's To the Earth, which is an awesome Zapper game. Although the game is very challenging, but the music is awesome. The Battle of Olympus. It seems like a really good Zelda 2 look-alike, but the game has its flaws. Then here's Legacy of the Wizard. Just a simple, primitive action game that isn't really as good. Battletoads. Good game, but has its flaws. Balloon Fight, one of the best NES games of all time. I used to love this game very much. Yo, Noid. Barbie. Circus Caper. Burger Time. Fun but very challenging. And then here's Batman, the video game. Good game. Although the Joker is very difficult. But at least it would make sense since he's the last boss in the game. And then here's DuckTales. Awesome game. Strider. Good game. Takes me back to 2008. And then here's Anticipation. It's a pretty good game, but challenging. A Boy and His Blob. Trouble in Blobolonia. This is considered a classic. Fisher-Price Perfect Fit. Fisher-Price I Can Remember. This actually may seem like a simple game, but if you play against the computer on the highest difficulty, then you're in for a real challenge. Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Now, the way I see it, if this game had been made by Sunsoft, then it would have been an awesome game. Pinbot, good game. Legendary Wings. Spelunker. Soccer. And you can tell just by looking at the soccer ball that it looks almost like a chocolate chip cookie, except it's white. Then here's track and field. Track and field 2. The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. Not only is this a rare game, but it is horrible. I hate it more than the Super Nintendo version. Then here's The Magic of Scheherazade. This is a pretty good game set in Arabia. Made by Culture Brain, same company that made the Ninja Boy series, aka the Super Chinese series. Scheherazade even made an appearance in Super Ninja Boy. Even one of the music tracks is in Super Ninja Boy, which is cool. Here's Yoshi's Cookie. Now this is a classic right here. Awesome game. The only flaw to it is that there's no versus computer mode. Then here's Excite Bike. And then here's Swords and Serpents, which is a first-person RPG. I mean, it seems like a good game, but it has a serious flaw where you gotta put in so many different passwords just to begin the game exactly where you left off. And then here's Blaster Master. Eight Eyes. The Flintstones, The Rescue of Dino and Hoppy. Golgo 13, The Moffat Conspiracy. Now this game is awesome. I love this game. Shinobi. Stealth ATF, similar to Top Gun, but it's a bit better. Elevator Action, good game, but man is it challenging. Then here's The Secret Scroll, Flying Dragon, made by Culture Brain. Then here's the original Gradius. Gunsmoke, awesome game. It's hard, but it's awesome. Then here's Silent Service. Pinball. Tom and Jerry. Mick Kids, aka MC Kids. Tetris, good game. Deja Vu, aka Deja Vu, A Nightmare Comes True. Awesome game. Here's Galaga, one of the best games ever. Then here's Wizardry, Proving the Grounds of the Mad Overlord. It's a pretty good game, but it has a serious flaw where when your character dies, you have to reset the game before pressing the button to go to the next message or so. Otherwise, the game automatically saves, and that character is dead for the rest of the game. But other than that, it's a pretty fun first-person RPG. And then here are some boxed NES games that I have. Mario is Missing. And then I'll show you the cartridge as well. Here's the cartridge. The cartridge is in very good condition. And then here's Tetris 2. Yes, this is the cartridge. And then here's Mega Man 5. Here's the cartridge. And the cartridge is in awesome condition. Mega Man 4. Get this thing open. And then the cartridge is also in pretty good condition, except for this little part right here. Other than that, this is Mega Man 4, and it's an awesome game. One of my favorites. Capcom's Gold Medal Challenge 92. And yeah, there is some marker stuff written on the back of the cartridge, but the front is in good condition though. Well, anyway, that's all the NES games I have in this collection. My exact number of NES games is 263. That's a lot of NES games, but those are the games that I have. Well, that's all for this video. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Okay, goodbye for now.